Yesterday, U.S. President Donald Trump said pregnant women should not take acetaminophen, also known by the brand name Tylenol. The statement comes after U.S. Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. promised earlier this year to determine the cause of autism. Now, it is a claim for which researchers have not found any conclusive evidence. That's what our first hour interview was all about, was debunking what is coming out of the administration in the States, looking at the science and the studies that have been done about this. The news is troubling for a lot of people, including my next guest here in Winnipeg. Kalyn Falk is a mother who lives here in our city. Her 28-year-old son, Noah, is autistic and is nonverbal, which is why we don't have Noah with us on the air. But Kalyn is with us over Zoom with her concerns. Good morning.
Good morning.
So what went through your head when you heard yesterday's, Trump and Robert F. Kennedy Jr. standing up there and saying this?
Well, two thoughts came to mind. First of them is this is clearly a distraction. This isn't how science works, and this is not an administration that has shown a commitment to helping or encouraging or supporting the autistic population. So this is just a distraction. We're filling time where we should be looking at something else, like the rise of authoritarianism, or the suffering of many people. So first of all, this is just a distraction. We shouldn't play into it too much. And the second thought is the only time that we get to talk about autism is when it's framed as this is a problem that needs to be fixed, where as parents of autistic people, we would love for there to be a really open-hearted conversation about how best to support this population, for autistic people wanting to be seen and centered in the conversation, which I know can't happen today with Noah. But so those are my two thoughts. This is a distraction, and also this is just replaying this old trope of autism is a problem that needs to be solved, instead of what is autism telling us about the way our society runs, and how can we actually develop strong support networks and circles of care for anybody that's having a different kind of experience.
How does the narrative impact families like yours and autistic people and caregivers when something like this bubbles up? Because you and I have talked in the past about different tropes that come up, misinformation,
Yeah.
all these links that have been, disproven. But how does all of this sort of impact people, that narrative that, as you put it, autism is something to be fixed?
Yeah, and that's one thing I've really appreciated, is that we've been able to talk over the years about this experience. I think so. Noah's 28, and ever since he was diagnosed, before he turned 2, the question has always been, what have you done to cause this? Is he working hard enough to solve the problem? And we've joked about it before because it's so filled with disinformation, but it's really harmful. And I think what parents need is not more blame or judgment. They need a little bit more understanding. And certainly what the autistic population needs is to say, this is my experience and these are my needs, and how can we meet them? So again, we're having this conversation that doesn't go anywhere, but it does actually cause harm to us. We're just being told again and again, what did you do to cause this?
It's interesting because you say that this is since Noah was first diagnosed, you felt like this comes up.
Yeah.
Where does that come from? Is it just, you mean in just in that bigger sense, the societal stigma, or does it really live? Is it something that families like yours with Noah, would have to live every day and confront in your lives?
I mean, I think it's just we're living in a really fear-based society. So anyone that is having a different experience, we've been taught to fear that instead of listen to it. So this is, people who have English as a second or third language, people who are trans, people who are neurodiverse. We're taught to look at that, view that with a lens of fear. So that's one thing. And I think a lot of people, big problems that don't have a solution or that are like tricky to figure out, people would love it if there was a simple answer. And so I think what most people are doing is saying, how can I make sure that this doesn't happen to me? Right? Which is, I understand that impetus, but what I'd love is for just a different conversation to happen.
Um, what What would be top, the headline on that conversation, Kalyn, about, breaking the stigmas or that different conversation about autism? What would that look like to you?
I think it would really look at how do we better support people who are having different experiences? How do we grow and evolve as a society to say, what are maybe some of the gifts that people who are having a totally different experience of their wiring, what's the information that they're giving us? Things that maybe don't make sense, that maybe are just social conventions. That's really helpful information for us. Temple Grandin, who is an autistic writer, talked about if there aren't neurodiverse people in the world, we'd all just be having a social conversation by a campfire. Like innovation and technology happens with people who think differently, who have different experiences. So I would love for that to be the conversation of like what listening to people with different experiences and saying what can we learn from them, rather than saying how can you try more to fit into a box.
I was just listening to my interview with Temple Grandin. She was here
Yeah,
in studio with us last November when she was through Winnipeg. And
yeah.
I was trying to isolate to have some of that on the air this morning. So we're still going to try to get that on the air this half hour because, as you know, she's such a thoughtful speaker on exactly what you said. Thank you very much for being with us this morning. Really appreciate your perspective.
Yeah, thanks, Marcy.